And then what happened? When did this happen? What happened?
On the 5th of September, I had a high speed, high impact fall.
Unbelievable.
And I smashed my femur.
Yeah, you did.
In the back, sliced it in half and vertical fractures down into the knee.
And that was 5th of September last year?
That was the 5th of September 2024, and my first thought was, well, that's it for classes then. Because I heard the bone snap, and literally that was the first thing that went through my mind.
So from there,
Yep.
you went to hospital.
So into hospital, surgery next day, told I would have at least a 12-day stay in hospital. That was the news I was given while in A&E, waiting for the surgery. That was what I was told, 12 days.
And what happened?
Came out of surgery, and next day physio saw me and said, right, we're going to try and get you up. And I sort of shot over to the side of the bed to their utter amazement and said, oh blimey, you're strong. Wouldn't have been the same way a year before. And I was out of hospital I had 4 nights in the ward instead of 12. So they went down from saying, okay, you can be here for 5 days, then we'll send you to a rehab centre for 7. And it ended up they sent me home after 5 days.
I mean, all credit to you, Polly. I mean, your mental strength, first and foremost, is phenomenal.
But that was also part of everything, that whole package.
Yeah.
Doing all this and from feeling good about myself and having the strength and actually being on a ward, which unfortunately after the 60s you are in the aged ward, what they call it. And just being able to show that I could do this, I could get up on the crutches, I could move, everything. I met every deadline that they wanted me to do and every point that they thought I'd have to do in rehab, I met day after day after day.
You sure
and
did.
the only reason that they kept me in for the extra day was just to make sure my blood pressure was okay. So the strength and everything, they were just saying, oh my goodness, and there's just no way. So at home, I was able to manage.
Yeah.
I could get myself dressed, I could do, I could get in the shower, I could get out of the shower really quickly, much to my husband's terror and horror.
Oh, God. So are we saying categorically 100% that had you not been engaged in any form of physical fitness, you wouldn't have recovered as quickly?
Absolutely. 100%, 110%. I wouldn't have been able to get myself up and about. My mental health would have taken a much bigger toll. I couldn't have been as independent as I was, and I wouldn't have got off the crutches and onto sticks and be where I am now.
Yeah.
We're now 5 months down the line. And I'm back at classes.
Which is phenomenal. I mean, we all say how incredible that is. And
I gave myself 4 months. I said, that's it, 4 months, I'll be back in January. There was a moment at 3 months where I thought, oh, will I? But the physio said yes. That's the other thing, is had I not learned the exercises that we were doing, the physio would have been much harder to do.
Yeah.
But actually, the physio they were giving me was actually really very straightforward.
Yeah.
And they kept having to up it. Yeah. Because they could see that I could already do it.
You had the ability for it and the know-how.
Yeah, the knee will work a bit better. It's not, that's a structural thing, not a strength thing.
But I mean, for all of us to see you come back, so now you did come back properly to classes after Christmas.
I did 4 months.
And, in my mind, if in all honesty, I said to you, I think at the time, it's going to be about 6 months, didn't I?
Yeah.
About 6 months.
All true, but on the other hand, had it not been something that I really, really enjoyed, that 4 months would have been a very good, easy way to just back away.
Yeah.
And stop.
Yeah, I can't do it anymore.
I can't do it anymore. I'm not doing it. Which I have done with many, many different things over the years, with different types of fitness, as have thousands of people.
Yeah.
But whatever it is about the structure of your classes, it made me want to come back. And there was not a moment that I thought, I'm not going to go back. And that has never happened with any sort of fitness in my life.
That's fantastic, and I'm honoured. Truly, I am, because that's my intention. I know, I like for a lot of people just turning up to the gym or a leisure centre, where it's a big group, and that can be daunting, and that
doesn't work for me at all.
Yeah, it's not their setting. So to come to somewhere like where we host our physical activity courses and then the ongoing classes, which are very much in community settings, you build your own sort of tribe, don't you? You've got your friendship groups, and it's a very social thing.
It's a social thing. It's to say, it lifts your mood. it makes you feel better about yourself. You start to look better, you feel better, so therefore you eat better, you feel better. So there's this whole cycle. Unfortunately, that didn't go in that 4 months, and I think that was a big part of the fact that I was much more positive than I would have been a year before. And a year before, I would have felt terrible. I wouldn't have had the strength to carry on with the things that I had to do to get better. It would have been a much bigger struggle.
So do you think the way in which me and the other trainers sort of coach you guys is also encouraging for you to stay? Do you like that connection?
The fact that somebody really gets to know you in a small class, and they can see you day to day, and actually they can tell you certainly can tell what mood people are in. You see it immediately, and you know when to push and when not to push. And that small group, as you say, it's good that there's connection between the 6 of us who are always there. But the fact that the trainer knows you, sees your progress and can push you forward, absolutely, because that's motivating.
So in terms of, locally, I mean, you're fully aware of this, and this is by no means, a derogatory or a negative comment. This is statement. This is fact. I've worked tirelessly, and you've known this for the last couple of years, trying to engage with the local NHS to try and notify the local surgeries at least that this offering is out there 100%. And that there are people that can come along and benefit from the 12-week course who've got sort of low mood, mild depression, anxiety, or are recovering from some sort of injury, or they've got arthritis, they've got mild asthma, anything. All of these ailments really are improved with ongoing physical activity. So I've been relentlessly trying to encourage, I'm not asking them for money necessarily, I'm just asking them to be aware to, there's this service in your community, so they haven't engaged.
Which I find extraordinary. I do find that utterly extraordinary. I mean, just looking at my case alone, my blood pressure is down, I haven't had to use an asthma inhaler all this winter, and I was out of hospital in 5 days, not 12. Each of those things has saved time for the NHS. I'm healthier, I'm better, all my vitamin levels are great, all my blood's great. I don't understand why the NHS will not engage. Well, I do, I know why the NHS doesn't engage, is that they don't have the infrastructure.
And I suppose it's not an immediate, it's not like giving someone a pill and then them feeling better. It's not an immediate result for them, but
it's a long-term result.
It's a long-term result which will in the end save them money and prevent, I guess, that revolving door of patients that just keep coming back, who don't actually know what they need, they're just not comfortable in themselves. And they it's like everyone needs a focus, don't they? And if they've got that focus in their community that's free, to engage with, to start with, that gets the ball, that changes behaviour.
It does change behaviour, and I've known a lot of people who've come to your subsequent classes, and each one of them has come out feeling better, and whether it's hips that were really hurting before that are no longer hurting as much, knees that bend better. Each of the people I know have changed the way they act outside of those classes. So they are more active.
Yes.
They're feeling better.
Yes.
A lot of them again are women in their 50s.
Yeah.
And they are feeling better. They're out there. Their mood's lifted, and they believe in themselves more. So therefore, they're not going to the doctors because they don't need all the stuff that they needed before.
Yeah. I know, and it's the same with a lot of the guys that are 50 plus as well. They've got their own sort of, things that they're going through. And either they're recovering from sort of long-term injury, or they've all said the same thing, which is phenomenal. And all I want, and it is a want, is just for people to know about it, and it's a choice. Come or don't come.
Yeah.
It's there. It's not going to a big gym.
Yeah.
You're not having to pay for it. To come and do the course, all the equipment's there, it's been funded, and I will coach you through different varieties and just see the benefit. But again, it's trying to get that connection with each of the local surgeries, and of which there are 4 or 5 locally to us,
and none of them are engaged.
No, not a single one.
I think that's very disappointing. I think that's really disappointing.
It's disappointing for the community.